Hey everyone, and welcome to the free masterclass. I'm just going to pull up my presentation here. This is a free masterclass on how to develop psychic abilities, and I'm going to be going over a lot of information that I hope will help you realize that maybe you're reading a lot of things online that, either Googling or you're reading a lot of books and things that like aren't helping you develop your abilities. And I was exactly in your shoes, and these books and these classes that I was taking wasn't working until I found a mentor to help me. And so I am a psychic medium mentor. My name is Brandy Ban. I have my contact information here. If you want to email me, you can take a look at my Facebook and Instagram. I have a lot of free tips and tools on there. Um, and then if you are interested in furthering your learning after today's masterclass, I would love for you to book a call with me, and you can do that on my website at brandyvan.com. And I also have a lot of blog posts on there that also have a lot of free resources if you want to take a look at that as well. Okay, so that's a little bit about me, and I'll go more into about like how I became psychic and what my story is a little bit later, but let's just go ahead and dive into it. Let me see if I can move my face. Okay. So what we'll be learning today is what exactly is a psychic, and do we all have this ability? We'll be going over the benefits of developing your psychic gifts, the most common struggle we all share due to myths in our society, my story, like I said. We'll also be going over 10 strategies to develop your psychic gifts. We'll also be going over who are our spirit guides, and then I'll tell you a little bit more on how to work with me if you're interested in diving deeper. So if you don't have a pen and paper, I would say go ahead and grab one now. You can pause the video. You definitely want to take some notes, and yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. So, what does it mean to be psychic, right? Being psychic is when you have the ability to pull in energy and to receive to receive information that can't be accessed using the five human senses. So we all have our five physical senses, but then we also have our sixth sense, which is our intuition. And our intuition is also our psychic sense. So if you think about it, if our sixth sense is also our psychic sense, is also our intuition, those titles can all be used interchangeably. It means we all have this gift because we're all born with intuition. And when you can use the five physical human senses with your intuition, that's known as ESP, or extrasensory perception. It means you have that extra sense, right? You're able to tune into your intuition. Now, having psychic experiences is different than being a psychic because everyone has psychic experiences. You might not be realizing that, but because we're all psychic, we do all have these experiences. And I'll go into that a little bit later. Some experiences that you might think are everyday human ones, but are actually psychic ones. But that's different than being a psychic, because a psychic is someone who has developed their ability, they've taken control of it, and they've learned how to use their ability in their life for personal development, self-growth, or helping other people. So yeah, if you're wondering if we're all psychic, yes, the answer is yes, 100%. There's so many different types of psychics. So I myself am a medium, which means I'm able to talk to deceased loved ones. Now, all mediums are psychic because we have that extrasensory perception, but not all psychics are mediums. So psychics can also be healers. They can be empaths. They can be medical intuitives, animal communicators, energy workers, telepaths. There's so many different ones. I'm not going to list them all here. Actually, one that I did want to mention though, there's also ones that are like they work with cops, and they can find missing persons. They can help find a missing body. So those are psychic detectives. Yeah, there's so many different types. So just again, we each have psychic abilities, but we all have a unique psychic ability. And again, mine is a medium. So I'm now going to go into some benefits to developing our psychic gifts. And there's so many, like some people think it's literally just like, I'll be able to tell the future, or I'll be able to talk to dead people, right? But there's so much more that comes with that, because you are entering this world of spirituality, which really, raises your vibration, makes you more positive. It gives you like a better like reason to live, I guess, if I could say. Like it gets you to be so much more like why am I here? And it gives you more purpose in life. So because of that, you can find your passions that maybe you've been holding down because, maybe society is kind of telling you how to live and you're living how society wants you to. But when you can actually say, you know what, I have these abilities. I know that other people might not believe me, but I'm going to develop and take control of them. Just, being that more authentic self and being who you are, it just helps so much with everything in your life. So I'm going to go ahead and go over some of these now. So, whenever you start developing your gifts, you go through a lot of shadow work, which we'll go through a little bit later, which really can give you a lot of emotional healing for any trauma that you've had in your life. Doesn't mean you're 100% going to be healed, but it's definitely a start to get you to heal more than maybe you wouldn't if you didn't work on shadow work. It also gets you to trust in yourself wholeheartedly because the more you practice and the more you can get into this is like, just like not letting other people doubt you. And so that you just become more confident and you trust in the messages more, you trust in your intuition more, which can help you make better decisions in life. It helps you with relationships in your life. So I can't talk about enough about how trusting in yourself really is like life changing. It also helps you to stop second guessing yourself. Benefits to developing your psychic abilities is also living to your fullest potential because you can find and discover your higher purpose. And a lot of times that's being of service to others. So although you're going on this, self-discovery, personal growth journey, a lot of times people will then want to help other people with it because you have this ability to help other people. And that's really how we're all connected here in the world on earth, is to help each other. And so, it just brings it to like a whole nother level when you can be of service to others with your abilities. It also helps you have a deeper understanding of your thoughts, your motivations, and emotions because it really gets you to be more emotionally intelligent so that you can really look at your emotions, kind of differentiate that from, to understanding I can turn this emotion off. It's not going to be with me the whole day. Our emotions are as fleeting as the clouds in the sky, they come and go. And so that you don't get hung up on one emotion, you recognize it and you can move on from that, which will also help you to improve your relationships and help you become attuned to your inner self. I've already said like 10 times, go on a journey of personal growth and self development. It also helps you have comfort in unknown situations because you have that newfound emotional intelligence. So it almost gets you to look at a situation that's maybe challenging or you're struggling with something, to look at it in terms of what is this trying to teach me? What am I going to learn from this? Why have my spirit guides given me this challenge that I'm supposed to learn from it in my human life? So when you get that spiritual development along with the psychic abilities, you start to look at things a little bit differently that really, things are important, but they're not as important. So you see things as like, okay, this is important, but I know I can get through this. I know I'm strong. I can look back at what I've been through before and know that I went through it. And that gives me strength to go through whatever I'm going through now. So, even if you have that unknown situation or that fear of the unknown, it really helps you because you've developed these abilities. Yeah, so it'll definitely help you with those unknown situations. It also, like I said, gets you to live authentically. So if you are hiding in the spiritual closet, as I call it, you're not living to your fullest potential. You have these gifts for a reason. Some people might have these gifts and not have any interest in developing them. They might have, just not have like any intention on developing them or controlling them because maybe they only have an experience once a year or something. But if you're someone that knows that you're having these experiences, knows that you're maybe an empath or you're highly sensitive or you are maybe even sensing spirit or seeing or hearing spirit, if you try to hide behind that, you're not living authentically or to your fullest potential of really helping yourself and others. And it's really a hard way to live when you're hiding those spiritual gifts. I know that was very hard for me. I thought people would think I was crazy. I thought people would think I was making things up, and I just didn't want to tell people because I knew that they would judge me, like maybe they would think I was crazy. And so I was really afraid to tell people. But now I'm at the point where I will be the spokesperson. I will tell everyone. I'm telling everyone to get out of their spiritual closet because it's an amazing way to live. And I would never go back to how I was before and hiding in my spiritual closet. So I think I might have said this already. Oh, I said becoming attuned to your inner self, but also receive clear insights into your life. And that's because you are able to tune into your intuition, which is that inner guidance that's guiding you, which we'll go into later. And also by talking to your spirit guides who are giving you this guidance and they want your life to be easier. And so they're helping you. But if you don't know how to speak with them or you don't know how to communicate or get their messages, you're missing out on that on those messages. So like you're missing out on their guidance to help make your life easier. So once you develop your abilities, you'll receive that clear insight into your life. Like I said, be yourself without fear of judgment. I don't know how to get down there. Oh, enhance creativity. I'm not sure how to move that, but I know what it says. But it really does enhance your creativity as well because fear comes through you, and that's a great place to embrace that creativity. Also to embrace that positive lifestyle, like I've said, like things just seem to go easier. Your life starts to flow a lot easier. And because you're finding that higher purpose and your life's meaning, it just makes you embrace much more positive lifestyle. And when you can read positive affirmations every day, which I'm going to give you today as part of this masterclass, it can really get that emotional intelligence going because you can start noticing your negative thoughts and then turning them into positive thoughts, which doesn't mean you're going to be positive all the time. And I'm not saying that, oh, all challenges are going to be easy now. I'm just saying that you're going to have a different perspective on them to make them easier in your life. You can also find profound sense of meaning in your life, which is great. Like I totally feel like at first I was meant to do mediumship readings because I was giving people a lot of healing in their grieving process. I was giving them messages from their deceased loved ones. And so that's something that I was really proud about, that I have this ability that I can do that to heal people and to give them some comfort. But now I feel like if I can help other people do that, if I can create more psychics and more mediums that can go on and do that, like I feel like that's my main purpose in life is to help other people develop their abilities so they can go and help other people. So I'm like creating this like army of light workers and I absolutely love it and feel like this is my meaning in life. And if I wouldn't have developed my psychic abilities, I would have never gotten here. Like if you would have told me 10 years ago this is what I was doing and I wasn't in my sales position anymore of medical sales, like I would have just not believed you at all. Like can't believe how much my life has changed since I started with my mentor and got my abilities going. It also helps you to live with less stress because of all of the reasons I just mentioned. It also helps you to connect with that universal energy because you're going to see how you're going to start helping people by your own personal growth, how that's going to help other people as well. Experience optimal well-being, which is kind of everything I said there as well. You also have the potential to create income. So if you did want to do a reading for someone or a healing for someone or energy work, there's so many different types of jobs and careers, whether it's a side hustle, whether you do it full time. There's a lot of money that can be made here, but people don't realize that because unfortunately, our society doesn't really talk about it. But there are a lot of ways to potentially create income for yourself if you wanted to take that further step. You're obviously going to deepen your spiritual connection because you're going to talk with your spirit guides. You're going to learn all about spirituality because that really ties in with your psychic abilities. And like I said before, also better decision making. So because you're going to trust yourself, because you're going to improve your relationships, that's all going to boil down to making the best decision for yourself and not second guessing yourself and knowing that you've made the right decision. Take a sip of water. Okay, so the most common struggle that we all have, we all share this, is trusting ourselves. That's the biggest thing with developing our psychic abilities because we have all these limiting beliefs that our society has told us that these gifts aren't real, that we're crazy if we say that we have these gifts. And so when you hear that for years and years and years, Maybe not in the other societies, but in our cultural society here in the United States, when you hear that over and over again, you start to believe it. And it becomes so real that whenever you do have a psychic ability, or you do, maybe communicate with spirits, you automatically don't trust yourself because of what other people have instilled in you, this limiting belief that what you're experiencing isn't real. Now, scientists might say, you know, anything about consciousness or anything about the brain, but there's no science on subjective experience. And subjective experience is what you are experiencing, and no one can tell you that you're not experiencing that. For instance, if someone was on a roller coaster and they're screaming, right? You don't know by looking at them if they are happy to be on this because it's the biggest thrill of their life and they're going to get back in line and go on it again, or by looking at them and they're screaming like, I hate this, get me off of this roller coaster, I'm afraid for my life, right? And so just by looking at someone, you never know what their subjective experience is. So if someone comes up to tells me that I'm not talking to dead people, like, dude, like, you're the crazy one. I know I'm talking to dead people. I can talk to them all day long, and there's nobody that can tell me what I am subjectively experiencing because I know what I'm experiencing. And just like with a toothache, two people might have a toothache, but one might be like, I don't think the pain's that bad, and the other person with the same exact toothache is like, oh my god, this is so painful. You just never know what someone's experience is. Now, when I do Zoom calls, I'm just taking a minute out here. A lot of people will be like, oh my gosh, I see an orb above you. There's this white light going back and forth. No, I'm sorry to disappoint, but I'm sitting sitting in front of a wall that has a window, and I live in the city, and those are cars that are passing by. So that's the reflection of the cars. Just wanted to mention that. Okay, so we doubt ourselves because of our society. They have given us these limiting beliefs that what we're experiencing isn't real, that developing our gifts is something scary, that we are opening up the occult and we're bringing people back from the dead, right? But that's not it at all. Those are people that do not understand spirituality. They're telling us that we're weird, we're crazy, we're making things up, and that it's against our religion. So, just a little thing here about spirituality versus religion. Religion is where a group of people all have the same belief and they'll go somewhere like a church to do some sort of worshiping to a god. That's a religion. Spirituality is a personal development. It's personal growth, self-growth to, develop your ability, to develop your intuition and strengthen it, to talk to your spirit guides for guidance. This is a personal journey. It's not a group, and it's the same outcome. So people can be spiritual and religious. People could be religious but not spiritual, spiritual but not religious. But they're two different types of thought. So it's two different complete things. And so when people say that it's against your religion to develop your psychic gifts or to get into spirituality, it's completely two different things. It's like comparing apples and oranges. So it's not going against any religion. It's just it's going through a personal growth discovery journey of yourself, but the end result is the same. The end result for religion and spirituality is to be your best self and to help other people. We also doubt ourselves because of ourselves. So some myths that people hold on to are, I'm too old to develop my gift. My mentor was actually in her 60s and she had just developed her abilities about 5 years before that. So it's just like any other skill. If you want to play the drums or if you want to play basketball, whatever you want to do, you're not too old. Anyone can develop this gift. It doesn't mean that, if you guys know Teresa Caputo or Tyler Henry or these famous psychics, just because they've had their ability since they were young and they got into it right away does not mean that you're older now and you can't develop it now. It doesn't mean that you have this natural ability and you have it, or I think I have this, but I can't develop it. It's just like any other skill, playing a sport, playing an instrument. It is something that can be developed no matter what your age is, as long as you have an interest in it. And if it's something that you want to do, you can absolutely develop it and at any age. Another myth, and I know I was here, is it's for other people, it's not for me. Like I said, would never have thought I would have become a psychic after so many years. Like 10 years ago, there's no way I would have believed it. I always had an interest in it, but I didn't think there was a real way to develop it. And so yeah, it's just nuts that this is where I am today, and it's amazing. So yeah, it's definitely for you, because if you have the ability, why not? It's just like anything else. Another myth is that people believe that they can't turn it off once it's on, and that's 100% not true. Can you imagine if like dead people talk to me all day long? I would just like, I'd be living in a different reality, and I would be working all the time, because if you see dead people as my clients and if I could never turn them off, like no, no, thank you. So yeah, you can absolutely turn it off once it's on. You're going to set those boundaries to be able to control when spirit contacts you. You'll be able to control when they contact you. So like right now, if you have spirits coming at any time, or maybe you don't, but if you do, you'll be able to turn that off. Or if you want to go ahead and do a mediumship reading or any type of reading for someone, you'll be able to then turn it on when you need it on demand. So yeah, that's just something that I think a lot of the books don't teach you. And that's why it's great to have a mentor to tell you, this is what I did, this is how I got here. And, not everything is in a book. It's more on experiences that people have, which is why I love being a mentor. And another myth is too, I don't believe the messages that spirit's giving me. And this goes back to not trusting yourself. So spirit is never wrong. So if you get a message from spirit, the message is right. They want you to give the message to someone, or it could be for yourself as well. But we don't believe the message is right. So we doubt ourselves, and then we don't give that message. Now, it's fine if you don't, but I would love to get you to the point where you do trust it and you give the message. I'm at the point where I can do a mediumship reading for someone, and they can sit there and tell me, this makes no sense. I think that you are, you're making things up. Like, there's no way that this is real. And I'll keep going with the message, because I trust spirit so much now that their message is right, that I don't care what the human in front of me is saying. I trust spirit more. So I'm going to go ahead and give that message. And 10 times out of 10, that person will come back to me and email me maybe 2 weeks later and say, oh, it didn't happen yet, but now it happened. Or I talked to my mom, totally made sense to her. I apologize, it didn't make sense to me at the time, but now that I spoke with a family member, it did make sense. So you really have to get to that point of trusting spirit so much and trusting in their messages. You don't care what anybody else tells you. And it's not easy to get there. I did my psychic medium mentorship for about 6 months. I worked with my mentor for about an hour a month for those 6 months, and she gave me homework to do, for each month. And then after that, I did a practice circle for about 8 months. Every week, religiously, I was practicing on strangers so that I could build up that trust. And that's not going to be the same for everyone, but that's just what until I felt comfortable giving a reading and not caring what the other person said, just totally trusting in spirit. So even after my mentorship program, which is 90 days, I offer a practice circle, and that's a membership option for anyone who would want to keep practicing, because that's really, you can learn this stuff, right? But if you don't practice and practice with strangers, you're never going to develop that trust. Because if you keep practicing with the same person, you're going to start to get a bias and start to understand them. And so it's not like challenging you as much. And if you also only do it on yourself, it's just not the same as doing it on someone else, especially like doing it on a stranger for someone that you don't know. So that way, if you do a reading for someone, then they are a stranger and you'll feel comfortable doing it. But we'll talk more about that later. So just to tell you a little bit more about my story. So I had abilities since a very young age, probably like 10 years old. And again, I didn't want to tell anyone. So the way I hear spirits, and how I hear it is it's my voice, but it's not my thought. So if I was 10 years old and I would have told someone I'm hearing voices, I think they would have probably thought I had a mental illness. And I've actually had clients that were diagnosed with bipolar or schizophrenia because they told their doctor that they were hearing voices. They took themselves off the medication and they were living fine. And then they joined my program and they realized I don't have a mental illness. I'm hearing spirits. And it's just unfortunate that our society doesn't see that as an option and they're automatically going to put you on medication. Now, I'm not saying that that's the same for anyone. The mental illnesses certainly are out there, but if you start to really know yourself and you start to realize, hey, wait, I think this is an ability, then that's a lot different than actually having the mental illness. Anyway, so I didn't tell people for a long time. And then I was in my 20s and I had a profound spiritual experience that changed my life. So I was in my grandma's hospice room. We called her Nunny. She's my Nunny. And my whole family was there. We were, well, not our whole family, we have a very big family, but a lot of our family was there. We were holding hands as she took her last breath. We were all around her bed. As she took her last breath, I literally felt her spirit rise above the bed. It was as if her spirit was still connected to her body, but it was lifting up above her. And for me, I felt it in my stomach, which is where our intuition lies. It lies in our gut, which is where I felt this urge to look above the bed. When I looked above the bed, I saw the most magnificent, brilliant colors that I've like ever seen. I don't even think they exist in this world. They were beating in and out like a heartbeat, and they were like a star of these colors. And I was not even seeing this with my mind's eye, which your mind's eye is your imagination, right? If you were to imagine an apple right now, that's your mind's eye. No, I was seeing this with my naked eye as though this was in the room with us, with me and my family. And in that moment, I knew that my Nunny was at peace. I knew that she was calm. I knew that her angels and her spirit guides and her deceased loved ones that passed before her were with her in that moment to welcome her onto this new world that she was going to. And so my fear of death changed in that moment. I knew it was not something final. I knew I'd be talking to her again, and I knew that she was going on to this new, amazing journey of her life. All of that to take in within like 5 or 10 seconds is life changing. I also knew in that moment that I meant to have this gift and to not be afraid of it, to not be ashamed of it. It's something beautiful and I must have it for a reason. So all of that was happening while I am around everyone who is crying, who's grieving, looking down at my Nunny who just passed away while I'm looking up above them, and I'm going through something way different than they are. Now, I still miss my Nunny to this day. Don't get me wrong. I can talk to her anytime I want, but it's not the same as if she was still in my life. So, although it made it easier and I can still communicate with her, of course, you're still going to have those memories and you're going to miss someone. But I actually left the room, and because it was so strong, and I'm not a religious person and I wasn't into spirituality yet, so I was really overwhelmed by what was going on. So I left the room. And my cousin came out and she asked why I left. She thought that I couldn't handle how sad it was. And it actually took me a good probably 10 years after that for me to tell my family what I had experienced in that room. Because again, like I didn't know if they would think I was making it up. And then it's also like they're grieving and I don't want to show that like I just had this awesome experience. I miss my Nunny too. So it was also like, when do I tell them? When's a good time? Are they going to believe me? Um, so yeah, I totally get what it means to be in the spiritual closet. And so I started to tell my friends about it and people that were outside of my family, but it took me a long time to actually tell my family what happened. Once I did tell my family, they didn't seem surprised. Apparently, my uncle, I have some cousins, my aunt, and my own mother all have psychic abilities, and no one was really surprised that I had these as well. It's actually all on my mother's side, and it's all from her father's side. So they all have those abilities stemming from my great grandma, as far as I know. Um, so it's crazy that I thought I couldn't talk about this, and I did, and then everyone is very accepting of it in my family. But again, why didn't they talk about it, right? Like, why did I have to be the one to come out and talk about it? And if they had talked about it when I was 10 years old, maybe I could have developed my gifts back then and not felt so alone. So even now, I'm like, let me talk about it so that that person, whoever that is out there, does not feel alone if they are going through this similar experience. So after that, I read a ton of books and a lot of classes. The classes were self-study. I had nobody to ask, like, hey, am I doing this right? Or is there a different way to do this? Or I don't understand this exercise. And so even though I was doing that and I was listening to podcasts and I was just immersing myself in spirituality, I didn't feel like anything was changing. I wasn't developing my gift. I didn't have control over it. And I was just like, maybe this isn't for me. And so I gave up. So I kind of had this guilt of like, I know these spirits are coming to me. I know they want me to give a message, but I don't know how to give it. And I also know I have this gift and it's amazing, but I don't know how to do anything with it. So I just gave up. And then a few months later, my friend, who is also a life coach, she mentioned to me, have you ever looked for a mentor? Have you ever looked for a coach? And I really didn't think they existed. I could not find one. And then she actually would go to a psychic, and that psychic, she asked them for me, can you please mentor my friend? And she didn't market it as that she was a mentor. She just took me under her wing, thank God, and totally taught me my abilities. And like I said, I had been going through years of reading books and trying out these classes and spending a ton of money on all these things that weren't working. And I only worked with her again an hour a month for 6 months, and my abilities just skyrocketed because she knew stuff that wasn't in a book, and she was able to tell me things that were personal to me that I was going through for me to work on. So after that, I was able to tell spirits when to talk to me and when not to talk to me. I was able to do mediumship readings on demand for someone after I did this practice circle for 8 months, because then I really got my confidence going. And I did mediumship readings for so long, for years, and it was all through word of mouth. I never did any marketing on it. But then I decided I wanted to do more and I want to create this army of light workers. And so now I am a psychic medium mentor, and I offer a 90-day mentorship program for people who were in my exact same shoes, that are reading these books, that are taking these classes that aren't working. And they now go through my program and they are doing things that I can't even do. So if you go to my website, brandyvan.com, and you look at the testimonials, you will see that they're like transformations are amazing from when they come into the program and they doubt themselves and they don't think they have an ability, to then being able to talk to their spirit guides, to be able to listen to their intuition, to figure out what their clair senses are, to figure out how to get messages from spirit, to then figuring out their unique ability, and I'm able to help them do that. It's amazing. I really love teaching. I didn't realize I would love seeing the results even more. But yeah, so it's amazing to watch someone go through that transformation, which is the exact one that I went through. And so I want to help other people do that. And that's going to be some of the skills that we learn later today in this masterclass. But as you can see, my life has really changed. I was in a corporate job working in medical sales, and now I am just a psychic medium mentor doing this mentorship program. I absolutely love what I do. I would never go back to sales if I don't have to, because this is my life's calling. I have found it. And I have a client who is an angelic healer. He's actually able to heal people through channeling Archangel Saint Michael. And at first he thought it was a coincidence, but now that he's healed so many people, people that had COVID during that time that they thought was going to die, and now they're at home doing fine, or they were in hospice and he prayed for them, and now they're, at home doing great. The most recent was this little baby who was in the NICU for 11 months, and he prayed for her for 3 days, and now she's home and doing amazing. So it's amazing how our minds can do all of these things, but we're so focused on our physical body in our society. So, and I can't do that. I'm not an angelic healer, but my program was able to help him. And I'm seeing that along with all of my clients, that they all have these unique abilities. We all have this like baseline entry level things that I'm teaching them, but then I also customize it once we find out what their unique ability is to help them thrive in that. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that later as well. So we're now going to go over 10 strategies to help you develop your psychic gifts. The first one is shadow work. Then we're going to talk about meditations and mindfulness, intuition, energy protection, grounding, the clair senses, psychometry and automatic writing, practicing gratitude, positive affirmations to raise your vibration, and the third eye chakra. So let me get ready, because here we go. It's a lot, and it's amazing and exciting. Okay, so shadow work. With shadow work, you're not only healing yourself, but you are changing your life for better once you've tried to heal yourself. So it's going from, it's basically the more you know yourself, the better you'll be able to receive messages from spirit, and you'll be able to connect with your spirit guides better. Because the reason that we're all here on earth is to have a human life experience, and we all have challenges. I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can maybe put my face bigger or something. No, you have to just look at this. I can't figure it out. Sorry, you're gonna have to look at this picture for a while. Anyway, so again, we're all having this human life experience, and that's why we're here on Earth, because we're going to go through these challenges. That's one thing that every human has in common. All of our challenges are different, but we all are struggling. We are all having challenges, and we all need to go through those challenges so that we can learn what we're here to learn on Earth. Now, our spirit guides are with us so that they can help us enjoy everything that life has to offer, to help us, to guide us, and to get us to live an easier life. One of those things is shadow work. And when you can do shadow work, you're basically saying, I have this emotional baggage or I have this trauma, and I'm not going to live with it for the rest of my life. I'm going to work through it as much as I can. And that could be a lifelong process, but so that it gets less and less the more that you live. And that's the goal of shadow work. So shadow work includes inner child healing, going through exploring your core values and making sure that you're living through your core values, seeing if you are sabotaging yourself, you're betraying yourself, if you need to forgive yourself for anything, if you've abandoned yourself, and just going through like introspection and self-analysis. And so this is actually the very first module of my program. We go through a lot of shadow work. My program has 6 modules, and you go through each module for 2 weeks. So 2 weeks is shadow work. Now, if you've already had shadow work, already have worked on shadow work, then you can skip this part of the module, or maybe do a refresher on it. It's okay if you move on to module 2. But I do recommend people do the shadow work because, like I said, the better you know yourself, the more you're going to trust yourself, the more you're going to trust your intuition, the better you're going to communicate with your spirit guides and get those messages from spirit. Now, the benefits of shadow work are you're going to gain more confidence and self-esteem. It improves your creativity. It better builds relationships with other people around you. It gives you a better acceptance of who you are as a person, because it gets you to realize that you went through those challenges for a reason, to get that strength and to be who you are today and to get through things in the future. It can also help you discover your hidden talents, because like I said, if you're living how society wants you to live, maybe society is telling you to not listen to your gifts, or telling you to have a baby that you don't want to have, and you're doing these things that society's saying, and then you're not living your full authentic self. So you're not living your life authentically. Shadow work can help you get to the bottom root of that, to be like, this is how I want to live. I want to do it unapologetically. I'm going to accept myself for who I am, and this is what I'm going to do with my life. It can also help you improve your overall wellness. It increases your compassion toward others, to realize that even though you're going through something hard, we all are. It also helps you have better clarity in your life, because you are going to go through some healing. And you'll learn healthy coping mechanisms, like setting boundaries or stopping negative self-talk that you might be having. And you'll really learn healthy ways to meet your needs and really have a motivation for a positive change in your life. Now, for my mentorship program, I give you the work that you need to do on the shadow work, but I don't actually help you go through it. I need to stay in my lane. I am not a therapist. I'm not a counselor. So I do recommend that once you go through the shadow work in the mentorship program, that you're going to do this with a confidant, a friend or family member that you can trust, or even with a therapist, so that you can go through that. Because like I said, I am not a therapist, but it is important to do that shadow work. So that would be, it doesn't even feel like you're developing your psychic abilities, but that's really the first step that you need to do to get your abilities going. The next strategy for developing your psychic abilities is meditation and mindfulness. And mindfulness is when you are living in the moment. You are not letting your anxiety about the future, or your thoughts about your ruminating thoughts about the past affect you. You're just living in the moment right now, and you are very grateful for the moment that you're living in. So meditation is basically the process of training your mind to redirect and focus thoughts. So it's basically, turning thoughts off. And a lot of people have a hard time meditating, which is fine. It took me a long time to actually get a good meditation practice going, which is why it's called a practice, because you need to practice at it. But it's basically like you're turning your mind off, you're, envisioning a cloud, and your thoughts are going with that cloud so that your thoughts can turn off, so that you're in a very calm and peaceful place. Now, if you can't meditate, if you're just one of those people like, I can't sit there for that long, I can't turn my mind off, I totally get it. And so there's something called walking meditation. And so that's whenever, whatever activity it is that you're doing, and you can turn your mind off, you might not even realize that your mind is off. That's meditation and mindfulness. So to give an example, if you know that whenever you walk through like a path in the woods and you love being around nature and around trees and you get a very peaceful, calm place, that can be your meditation. If you love to go running, maybe when you're running, you don't even realize, maybe you have the music on or maybe it's silent and you're just totally into the running motion. That's your meditation. You're meditating in that moment without realizing it because you're so in the moment, you don't even realize that your thoughts are off because you're only focused on running. And that could be the same with drawing or playing an instrument or whatever it might be, or a sport. So it's not like, oh, I have to do an hour of meditation a day to develop my abilities. It's just a matter of finding what your meditation technique is and trying to incorporate that into your life so that you start to get a more calm, peaceful outlook, and to also live in that mindfulness, living in the moment. Now, my mentorship program might sound like a lot, right? It's 90 days, but I only recommend that you do the exercises for 10 to 30 minutes a day. And the reason for that is because imagine you haven't gone to the gym in like 5 years and you go for like 2 hours. You're going to be dehydrated. You're going to be tired. You're probably not going to be able to go to the gym tomorrow. This is the same thing. You're working out a muscle that's never been worked out before, and you don't want to overdo it. So, yeah, 10 to 30 minutes, 30 minutes max really is to work on the mentorship program to get your abilities going. And a couple minutes of that is meditation. That's really not, like, you only do like 2 minutes of meditation, and then you're doing visualization techniques. And that's actually when you're focusing on something. So you're only clearing your mind for maybe 2 minutes, if that, and then you're actually doing a lot of focusing your thoughts on visualization. And that's working out that psychic muscle. So yeah, meditation is that first step to calm yourself, to get to that peaceful point, but then you go to that next step of visualization. So sorry, I just want to go over some health benefits of meditation as well. Even if you don't do it for your psychic gifts, like, it's really a great way to reduce your stress, control your anxiety. It promotes emotional health, enhances self-awareness, can lengthen your attention span. It can help improve your sleep, help fight addictions, generate kindness. So meditation is really great if you did want to try it. And again, it doesn't have to be just sitting there and listening to music if that's not your drive. Okay. So next thing we're going to go into, and this is a lot, we're going to go into intuition. So this is the third strategy I'm giving you on how to develop your psychic gift, which this is the biggest one, I think, because this is like the first step. You really need to develop your intuition so that all of the other things can get developed. So you can do the shadow work simultaneously while you're working on everything else. You can do meditations while you're working on everything else. But this is really the main thing here, is your intuition. So your intuition is when you understand something immediately without the need for conscious reasoning. And this is the first step, like I said. So we all have our 5 physical senses, but then we also have our 6th sense, which is our psychic sense, which is our intuition, as I said before. So that's really the first step in developing your psychic gifts. So your intuition is your inner guidance. And maybe you've heard it called other things. Some people call it your gut feeling, they call it your instinct, your inner guidance, your higher self. But basically, to understand it is to think of it in the opposite. So have you ever been in a situation that afterward you thought, I knew I shouldn't have done that? That was your intuition talking to you. It was saying, do this. And then you did the opposite. And then you went, oh, I should have listened to myself. That's your intuition. And we want to listen to our intuition and develop and strengthen that so that we do what it says versus having that reaction of, why didn't I listen to myself? So your intuition is always going to guide you to your higher purpose because it's always going to lead you to the right destination. It's basically what you want in your soul, in your spirit, in your gut, in your just who you are as a person, unapologetically to anyone else. That's your intuition, and it wants you to listen to it. Now, as I said earlier, I was going to give you some examples of psychic experiences that you might think are everyday human ones, but they're actually psychic ones. And that's because they're using your intuition. And here are some of those examples. So, have you ever gotten a bad vibe when you entered a room? Have you ever turned around because you felt someone was staring at you, but then there's nobody there? Have you ever smelled the scent of a deceased loved one? Did you ever have a dream that ended up coming true? Do you ever see things out of the corner of your eye, but nothing's actually there? Has the thought of someone popped in your mind and then you run into them later that day, or you receive a call from them later that day? Are you overly sensitive to the emotional state of others, even strangers? And do you ever see repetitive sequential numbers? So the repetitive sequential numbers are actually your spirit guides giving you messages. And all of these other things are not your five physical senses. This is a feeling from your gut that tells you to do these things or that's giving you these experiences. So this is actually your psychic experiences at play. These are not your everyday five physical senses, which means it's your intuition and that's your psychic sense. So your intuition really feels calm. It feels clear and simple and peaceful. Well, how your intuition does not feel, it does not feel any guilt. It doesn't feel shameful or bitter or resentful or anxious. So whenever you can get to that calm place and listen to your intuition, that's your intuition. That's not anxiety or fear. So if you're feeling anxious about the past or the future, that's not your intuition. If you're feeling fear, that's not your intuition. Also, thoughts are not your intuition. Thoughts are your ego, which is your rational mind. And our ego or our rational mind is the left side of our brain. And that's what society has told us to basically do everything in our life, to make decisions based on that, right? To listen to the logic, to the facts, to critical thinking, to analysis. And so that's whenever you start to listen to your intuition, which is the right side of your brain, that you start to have this battle of, wait a minute, I'm listening to my stomach, I'm listening to my gut, I'm listening to my heart and my soul, but my whole life I've been taught to listen to facts. And so then we start to have this imbalance and this fight between the left and the right sides of the brain, and then we doubt ourselves, and that's where the doubt comes in. And so that's what we want to try to eliminate. We've never been taught to listen to our inner guidance, to ourselves. And so that's what we want to do here. We want to listen to what we want and not what society wants. And how do we do that? There's a 4-step process to developing your intuition. And I've made this up myself. I mean, everyone has this 4-step method, but I call it the AFTA method. Ask, feel, trust, and act. And we're going to go into these each individually. So first, you're going to ask your intuition a question, and you're going to start off small. You don't want to say, like, should I move to Mexico tomorrow, right? Like, that's a really big move, a really big challenge. You don't want to start there. You want to start with something like, should I eat a burger or a salad for dinner later? And even though your mind might be saying, I really want that burger, maybe you feel it inside your body. Nah, I actually I should have that salad. You want to go with the salad. So that's what I mean by like asking a really big question versus asking it small questions and going with the small ones until you start to really understand it and develop it. The next step is that you want to feel the answer in your body. And you only have 4 seconds to feel the answer. If you go to that 5th second, your rational mind has now kicked in and it's telling you this is crazy. There's no way this is right. You don't have any rationality to this. Don't listen to yourself, right? So that battle is going to go on. But again, you only have 4 seconds to feel the answer in your body. That feeling could be a faraway voice. So it could be something that you hear, but it's not like a normal thought. It doesn't sound like what you'd normally, like a thought that you would have. It's almost like a involuntary voice inside of your head that's coming from a faraway place. It could be a tingling sensation, a ringing in your ears, butterflies in your stomach, chills down your spine. My eyelids start to flutter. So everyone's unique. I'm just giving some examples of what it could be. The next step is to trust the answer that it gave you, because again, it's always going to lead you to the right place. So you want to trust what it says because it's giving you the answer that your soul wants. And then you're going to go ahead and act on its answer. Because if you don't act on it, like, why did you do any of the steps anyway, right? So you have to actually do what it says. And once you do what it says, you'll start to see that your life moves a lot easier, it flows easier, more opportunities welcome itself. So a lot will happen whenever you actually act on it. Now, developing intuition takes time. So make sure you're patient, show yourself some compassion. And if you don't get an answer in those first 4 seconds, that's okay. Don't give up, keep trying. And so you might want to try different ways, like ask your intuition a question and journal the like whatever answer you get. Or you might want to start doing meditation and then ask your intuition a question during the meditation. So there's different ways, and that's why it's really good to have a mentor too, because if you're finding you're not able to develop it and you're not getting the answers, you can ask a psychic medium mentor like myself, what can I do here so that I start listening to my intuition? Once you do start getting answers, you'll want to keep a journal of the questions you ask and then the answers that you receive, because you'll also want to make a note of the action you took from receiving those answers. Because then you can start to really trust yourself. You're going to look back and say, oh, that's right. I asked my intuition this, I did this, and then this is the outcome. It made my life better by XYZ. And so when you start to get those more and more answers in your journal and you start to see how it's positively impacting your life, that's really going to make you trust yourself even more and make you trust your intuition, which is really the goal, because it's going to help you make your life change for the better. I just want to see if I wanted to go back and say anything else about that. So, yeah, start off small, feel the answer in your body, trust it, and then act. Oh, I did want to do one more thing here. So, I'm going to ask you a question. We're going to do a little intuition quiz right now. And again, you only have 4 seconds. I'm going to count down the 4 seconds because again, going to that 5th second, we're going to get our rational mind in the way and it's going to talk us out of whatever we're thinking, whatever we're feeling. So I'm about to ask you a question and I want you to feel somewhere in your body, and it's instantaneous, right? 4 seconds. It's something immediate. It's whatever that first answer that you get. You don't want to question it. It's just boom, that's what the answer is. Okay, here's your question. Should you start a new hobby? And that's it. You should have your answer already. You should have felt it, heard it, whatever it was, boom, you got the answer. If you're still thinking about it, it's because your mind's in the way now and it's telling you that that's not right. So we need to just stop with those 4 seconds. And now I'm going to ask you one more question. Okay. Here's the next question. What should the hobby be? And that's it. You should have the answer already. If you go to that 5th second, again, it's going to talk you out of it. Now, if you got the answer that you should not start a new hobby, here's the next question for you. Why should I not start a new hobby? And now you should have your answer. And that's how quickly intuition works. I mean, it's instantaneous. You get the answer right away, and you don't want to ruminate. You don't want to think about it. It's just that's what your heart and your soul is telling you. And that's what you want to start to develop and strengthen so that you start living more authentically to who you are. I just thought maybe I wanted to just add something else there, but I think that's pretty good. But yeah, it's not easy. It's going to take some time. Once you start to realize what its answer is, whether it's that tingling in the stomach, whether it's a chill down your spine, or whether it's that voice or just knowing without knowing how you know, once you start to really understand that, that's when you can ask the bigger questions. But again, you want to start off small and then pick it up. And then, yeah, so then your intuition will help you guide you to your, sorry, stumbling on my words, will help guide you to your authentic self and how you really want to live and listening to your heart and your soul. Okay, so the next part we're going to go over is protecting your energy. And this is especially important if you identify as an empath. And it's important for anyone who has a highly sensitive person or anyone who has, knows they have psychic abilities, but really for empaths as well, because an empath can go into a room or even go outside or go anywhere really. If there's another human being, they're going to feel that person's energy, which really can be confusing because then you kind of feel like, is this my mood? Is it this person's mood? Is this my energy, their energy? And then that really depletes you. And so a lot of time empaths need to go home and like take some time to recharge. They need to like take a nap or hydrate, or they need to like just go in a room by themselves and not be around anybody. So yeah, it's really important to protect your energy also, because you might have spirits around you that aren't so pleasant, and so you want to make sure that you protect your energy so that only positive energy can enter your space. Because if you have negativity around you, whether it's a human or a spirit, that's not a fun place to be. You want to have a positive energy around you. So I'm going to go over a visualization that will teach you how to protect your energy. And a lot of people do this. It's not like I didn't create it on my own. But yeah, I just want to go through that. So we're going to go ahead and close our eyes. We're going to take a few deep breaths. And if any thoughts come in your mind, I just want you to envision a cloud, envision those thoughts in the cloud, and they're going to go through one ear and out the other, so that we can try to really calm our body, calm our mind, and come to a peaceful, stable, calm place. And now we're going to do a visualization. So although I'm saying the word visualization, which obviously means visual, which means seeing, a lot of us are not clairvoyant. We cannot see. We don't have visualization. So although I'm using the word visualization, I want you to use whichever physical sense works for you. So we're going to now envision that a white ball of energy is coming down from the sky. It's coming all the way down, going into the building above us, and it's wrapping itself around our body. Now, if you can't visualize, maybe you just are seeing black or gray, or you're not seeing anything, that's okay. And this is what the books don't tell us, right? They say the word visualize, and so we're thinking, I can't see it, so I must not be able to develop my ability. If you can't see it, that's okay. I want you to either feel it or sense it or know that it's there. Maybe you hear it, maybe you smell it, whichever of your physical senses. Maybe you feel it in your gut, maybe you just know it's there. Use whichever physical sense with your intuition that you can to go ahead and feel it or sense it or know it or see it going all around your body. And this energy bubble is exactly that. It's a bubble that's going to protect our energy so that no outside energy can come inside of our bubble. When we breathe in, we're going to breathe in this bubble's protection, its warmth, and its positivity. And when we exhale, we're going to exhale anything negative, any challenges or stress or struggles that were brought on today, and we're going to just go ahead and shoot those outside of the bubble. Again, we're going to breathe in that positivity, that warmth, and that protection of this energy bubble all around us. And exhale anything negative outside of the bubble. And stay in the warmth of that bubble. Maybe you can feel the warmth. Maybe you can see it around you. Maybe you feel it. Maybe you actually see yourself taking a few steps and the bubble walks with you. I almost say it's like at the end of the Wizard of Oz with the good witch, Glenda, I think her name is. She has that bubble all around her. Nobody could pop that bubble. This is that same thing. This is going to keep positivity all around us. And then when you're ready, you can start to wiggle your toes. Go ahead and move your fingers. You can start to open your eyes and bring your awareness back to the present moment. And so that's a great example that I can give you on how you meditate for a couple minutes, not even really. Then you do a visualization where you're focusing on something, and that visualization might not be visualization, right? It might be a sensing or a feeling or a knowing. And we're using our psychic muscle to do that exercise. And that's the muscle that you need to use to develop that psychic ability. And so these books might have like 5 or 6 exercises, or you might take a class that talks about one topic and gives you about 5 exercises to do there. My 90-day mentorship program has about 75 exercises for you to work out that muscle. And again, you're only doing them for 10 to 30 minutes a day. But that's how you're going to develop your ability in the 90 days, because I'm going to give you all the tools that you need. And that's why it's important to have a mentor. So If you are an empath or if you know you have these abilities, I recommend doing these exercises before you go to, this exercise, touching your energy with the bubble before you go to bed. If you have any like spirits visiting you at night, a lot of times between the hours of 1 and 4, you can get spirits visiting you, or maybe we wake up from your sleep, because that's when the veil is thinnest. That's when our guard is down, and so spirits can communicate with us a lot during that time. They can also communicate with us right as our head's on the pillow about to fall asleep, and also on the other end when we're about to wake up, our head's on the pillow and we're about to wake up. So I would do it before bedtime. I would do it in the morning when you wake up, because anytime that you leave your house, if there is an energy outside, whether it's a human or a spirit's energy, you'll be protecting yourself and not having any negative energy go into your space. Now, anybody can say do this exercise, but the biggest thing is believing in the bubble. It's just like believing in your spirit guides. It's just like believing in your intuition, and it's just like believing in yourself. If you don't believe that this bubble is going to take the negative energy and not allow it to go into your space, then it will come into your space. You have to believe, just like everything else here, that it's going to work for the negativity to actually stay out. Especially if you know you're going to be around someone who makes you like they're negative and it brings you down, you definitely want to do it before you go to, in front of that person. But it won't work unless you believe that it's going to work. Oh, I forgot to mention that because you guys are doing and because you downloaded this masterclass today, that I will be giving $500 off my mentorship program if you book a call with me within the next 5 days. So I will go over that a little bit more at the end, but I can't believe I forgot to mention that. Sorry. So yeah, so I actually had a client who was an empath who, she quit her job because she couldn't even handle being around all the energy and like the negativity around her. And so I taught her how to protect her energy, and she's doing amazing things now. She realizes that she wants to work with kids or with pets, which is a lot of times with empaths do. And she can now go into, crowded spaces, and she can go to like the mall or the grocery store or whatever without having her energy depleted, because she does this basically every time she leaves her house, and she always has that protective bubble around her. But again, you gotta work out the muscle, you gotta really believe in it, and that will get you to get stronger and to get the energy bubble to work. So that's one of the exercises as well. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is grounding yourself. So, grounding is a self soothing technique that you can use anywhere, because it's going to keep you in the here and now. It's going to keep you mindful, and it's going to detach you from any emotional pain that you might be feeling. It just gives you like a point of steadfastness, of being clear, strong, focused, instead of like getting lost in your anxiety. So, if you do feel anxious, you always want to ground yourself. And it's a powerful way to stay in that mind body connection so that you can remain self aware. The benefits of grounding are that it can reduce inflammation and pain, it reduces stress, improves blood flow and circulation, it improves energy levels, it improves your sleep, it benefits your heart health, and it can improve your mood. And how it ties in with spirituality is that grounding in spirituality terms refers to our bodily contact connecting with the earth's natural charge. So think of it like a big battery. The earth is the battery. We're going to ground ourselves to it, and we're going to recharge ourselves. And it's really creating an energetic balance between us and the earth. So if you can electronically charge yourself, you can stabilize and balance the spiritual and physical energy inside of your body, so that you can find that peace and calm. It also gives your energy a point of steadiness so that you feel centered and solid, strong and balanced, and less tense, less stressed out, and you'll feel more at peace. It also helps you to hold your physical body down so you don't feel dizzy or lightheaded when you're doing any of the psychic ability exercises. So I always tell people to start with the white light exercise, and then you want to do grounding right away so that when you move on to more exercises, you've already grounded yourself and you don't get lightheaded doing the next exercises. So we're just going to go ahead and do another exercise here. So we're going to go ahead and close our eyes again, and we're going to take a few deep breaths in and out. Okay, now I want you to envision that there's a gold cord coming down from the sky. Kind of looks like a hose, but it's gold. And it's going to come all the way down into the ceiling above us, going down into our crown chakra, which rests above our head. And it's going to wrap itself very loosely and comfortably all around our body. Again, if you cannot see it, although I'm using the word visualize, if you can feel it, if you can sense it, if you can know that it's there, whichever works for you. I want you to take that grounding cord. I want you to wrap it all around your body very comfortably, very loosely, but it is around us, tight, just tight enough. And it's going to go from the soles of our feet, and we're going to go through the earth. So we're going to go down under the building that we're in, put that grounding cord all the way. There's so many layers of the earth. We're bringing it through all those layers, and we're attaching and connecting it to Mother Nature, and we're anchoring it to the earth. It's almost as though this grounding cord is as though we're a tree, and these are our branches. These are our roots that go all the way down and connect with Mother Nature so that we're also a part of it. And then likewise, you can bring up the grounding energy from the earth and bring it up through your grounding cord, up through your soles of your feet, all around you, vision it all around you, see it, feel it, sense it, know it's there, whichever works for you, and then have it go all the way back up through your crown chakra, going all the way up into the sky. And so now we've just grounded ourselves. We've brought in cosmic energy from the skies. We've brought in grounding energy from the ground below us, the earth. And then you can go ahead and start to wiggle your fingers and toes, open your eyes, and bring your awareness back to the room. And that's a great way to be able to ground yourself. Okay, so yeah, you always want to ground yourself, because when you go into the spirit realm, in the metaphysical world, you can get very lightheaded, you can get headaches, you can get dehydrated. So that's why it's really important to have a mentor, because if you just do a class on grounding, or if you just do a class on shadow work, or if you just do a class on the Clair senses or the chakras, they're not teaching you all the things that you need to do that really build off of each other, that you need to do in a specific order, or at least do together, so that you're doing things in a safe and wise way when you enter this metaphysical realm. Okay, so we're now going to go on to the next strategy, which is the four. Well, there's more than four clear senses, but I'm going to talk about the main four today. And those are clairvoyance, which is clear psychic sight, which means that you might see an image or a vision, or sometimes I'll see like a photo album being like the pages are going, or I'll see like a home video. And I'm not seeing this with my naked eye. It's not like I'm seeing it outside of my mind. I'm seeing it in my mind's eye. That's clairvoyance. Clairaudient, like I said, is clear psychic hearing. That's when you can hear the messages coming in from spirit, maybe hear them from your intuition, from your spirit guides, so you're hearing the message. It could be outside of yourself, you're hearing it externally. It could be your own voice that you're hearing inside of your mind, but it's not your thought. Or it could also be a different voice that's in your mind, but not your thought. The next one is clairsentient, which is that clear psychic feeling, right? You just feel it. You just, for example, like I will feel other people's energy. So if someone's really anxious, I'll start to feel anxious. Or if I start to feel someone's really sad, like if someone's sad, I'll start to feel that as well. And that means that you're clairsentient. If you're claircognizant, you just have a clear knowing. You don't know how you know it, you just know it, and it's almost like you blab it out without even having thoughts. You just know something without knowing or not understanding how you know it. It just comes. And so that's clear knowing. And those are the main four. There's also clairalience, which is clear smelling, which is maybe like you smell a fragrance from a deceased loved one. There's also clairgustance, which is clear taste. So the most times I have clairgustance is if someone passed away through maybe like there's some blood in their mouth, I'll actually be able to taste the blood in my mouth. Or clairtangency, which is clear touch, which is you can feel a spirit maybe like rubbing your head or your hair, or you can feel them holding your hand. And if there are any of these clairs that you don't like, you can tell spirit, I don't want you to do that. So if you don't like clear touching, if you don't want them to touch you, you can actually gain control of that and learn the other clairs as one of your main ones. So I do have a Clair Sense quiz that I want to make sure that you guys do after this masterclass. And it's basically going over characteristics over the different Clairs, and you're going to circle them and add them up to see which one of your main Clair senses is. And some people have more than one. So some people might actually be more than one Clair, which is totally fine as well. And I want you to think of the Clair senses as sports. So let's say clairvoyance basketball, clairaudience baseball, clairsentience is football, right? You don't need to be good at all the sports. This is the problem with the books, right? They're teaching you all these different clairs, and you're trying them, and it's like, wait, clairvoyance works for me, but clairaudience doesn't. That's okay. Whichever Clair is yours, that's the one that you want to excel with. You can try the other ones, sure, but like if you're already good at basketball, why are you going to try so hard to be good at baseball when it's like I'm clearly good at basketball and I like it? So you may as well do that. So think of the Clairs as different sports. You don't need to be good at all of them. You just want to find out which one you're best at, and then you want to excel at that sport. So it doesn't matter if you're clairvoyant or if you're clairaudient. If you're able to get a message from your intuition or from spirits or from your spirit guides, and whichever one of these it is, that's yours. And that's the one you want to run with, because that's the one that's easiest for spirit to communicate with you or for your intuition to communicate with you. You don't need to be good at all of them. So yeah, that's the main thing. And that was just like that visualization that we did, right? I said, if you can't visualize it, meaning if you're not clairvoyant, maybe you just feel it because maybe you're clairsentient. Maybe you just know that it's there because you're claircognizant. So yeah, so you just want to figure out which one is yours. And that's the only one you got to be good at, because if you're going to get a message from spirit, who cares how you're getting it, whether you're getting it clairvoyantly or clairaudiently. It doesn't matter. The main goal is that you're getting the messages. Okay, so that's a little bit about the Clairs. Another thing is psychometry. And oh, sorry, forgot I wanted to do a Clair exercise. Oh, sorry. Okay. Okay. So the next thing I wanted to talk, I didn't realize I already did the exercise with the last one with the grounding and the protection. That is using your Clair senses. I just wanted to mention that you were using your Clair senses during the white light protection, and you were also doing it during the grounding exercise. So the next thing I can tell you about is psychometry and automatic writing. So psychometry is when you touch an object and you can get energy from that object. So maybe like a deceased loved one's grandmother passed away. You can ask, can I hold on to their necklace or their ring? And so while you're doing a reading, you can hold on to the object and you can actually get information from the object. Now, not everyone can do this, but this is a great way to see if that's something that works for you. Another way is automatic writing. Automatic writing is whenever you are going to hold your pen very loosely and you're going to ask spirit to come through you to write. And so it might start to look like little scribbles. You might not be able to understand it. It could be some symbols or some drawings that you don't understand, but eventually you'll start to get words, phrases, and even sentences. So that's another way that you can try to get spirit to communicate with you. So these again are just like additional ways that you can try to develop your psychic abilities. Practicing gratitude is also really important for developing your abilities, because a lot of people think like, oh, practice gratitude, I need to write out a gratitude list, which is great. I'm not saying not to do a gratitude list, but when people say to practice gratitude, they're really talking about cultivating this lifestyle of being grateful. It's not, oh, I'm grateful for this and this today. It's a state of being of I am grateful for XYZ in my life, and I'm going to stay in that grateful place because this is now my lifestyle. I'm not going to let myself be negative because I want my vibration to raise. Once your vibration, and I think that's the next one I talk about, well, not yet. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and skip ahead. Oh, no, I don't ever have it. Okay, so these are all ways to raise your vibration. When you can practice gratitude and stay in that grateful sense and lifestyle of being grateful, that's going to raise your vibration, because as humans, we are very low, dense vibration. We have these human bodies, we have gravity, and we're very dense, right? Where spirit is, they can be anywhere where they want at any time, and they are a high vibration at a high frequency. So if we can raise our vibration we are raising our vibration up to meet spirit, and they're actually lowering their vibration and to communicate with us. So that's how it works. We're raising our vibration, they're lowering theirs so that we can then communicate. You really want to stay in that positive outlook, stay in that practicing of cultivating a lifestyle of gratitude so that your energy stays at a higher vibration so that you can communicate with spirit. Another way to raise your vibration is by reading positive affirmations, because it can really change your thoughts from being negative to being positive by keep reading positive affirmations. So I do have that as an attachment here as well, which is an positive affirmations exercise for you to do after this masterclass that I would love for you to try as well to also help raise your vibration. Other ways to raise your vibration is to eat a healthy diet, exercise, keep a positive attitude. Don't let negativity enter your energy space like we did earlier with the white light protection. There's many ways to raise our vibration so that we can stay in that heightened state of awareness so that spirit can communicate with us. And then, of course, the third eye chakra. So I'm not going to go through all of the chakras right now, but there are 7 chakras, and these are spinning wheels of energy that run up and down our spine. And this is where our energy is stored, and they help us fuel our body, our mind, and our spirit. And their goal is to help us reach our highest potential. So it's very important to keep your chakras balanced emotionally, physically, mentally, and spiritually, because think of it like there's 7 tires in the mud. And I'm sorry, there's 7 tires. And if one is stuck in the mud, they're not going to all run together, right? Because if they're all connected and one's stuck in the mud, they're not going to run as they should. So it's really important to balance all of your chakras. But I'm not going to go through that. It is important, but today I'm just going to talk to you about the third eye chakra, which is our psychic muscle. So your third eye chakra is the eye or the seat of your soul, and it's actually located between your eyes, about an inch above them, like in between your eyebrows. And your third eye chakra helps you to make the best decisions for yourself and knows exactly what you should do no matter what the circumstance is. And this chakra is the one that's connected to our intuition and our soul. So it helps us to tap into inner knowledge, and you got to use it to your best benefit because that's why it's there. It's where your imagination and where your wisdom is stored, and it controls your ability to see the big picture in life, to see how we're all connected, to see how, how the divine universal energy can help us. So the third eye chakra is invisible. It is associated with a physical body part called the pineal gland, and it's a gland that's located in the middle of our brain, and it's an organ that helps connect the mind to the body. And it really needs to keep hydrated so that our brain function is fully there, and so that we can really help its health as much as we can. So it's very important to stay hydrated when you are doing any psychic abilities, but whenever you are using the third eye chakra. Little did you know that we just used our third eye chakra with the visualization techniques that we did for the white light protection and for the grounding. So now it's all coming together, right? We used the Clair senses to do those exercises, and that was what we used for our intuition, our sixth sense. But we also used our third eye chakra because that was our psychic muscle that we were able to imagine or feel or sense or know that the bubble was coming down and that the grounding cord was around us. So they all work together. So I think I wanted to say something else about the third eye. So the third eye is definitely develops your psychic ability. And a lot of people think that it is like, well, aren't I just like imagining things? And that's exactly what we're doing. When you can imagine, you're using your psychic abilities, and that's how you develop them. It's because you're using your imagination muscle. That is your psychic muscle, if that makes sense. And that's why children who still have their imagination, who haven't had these limiting beliefs told to them, that's why they're able to communicate with spirits a lot when they're young, because they still have their imagination and they also have not been told that these things aren't real. So that's, I hope it's all making sense to you right now with the chakras and the clairs and the visualizations, and it should all be coming together, and also raising our vibration so that we can communicate with spirit. So this is a very easy exercise to basically tone down the ego, tone down the left side of our brain so that we can really focus on our intuition and the right side of our brain. So it basically balances our thinking so that the logical side of our brain and the intuitive side, creative, spiritual side of our brain can work in unison. So what you're going to do is you're going to put your finger right here and right at the third eye, and you're going to go down underneath the eye, around, up over the eyebrow, down over the other, underneath the eye, around the eyebrow. And it's just like, this is called the infinite eight. So you're just going to keep doing that. You can close your eyes, and you might want to do that for 2 minutes or so. You can pause the video if you'd like to keep doing it. But that's really helping our left and right side of the brains to work in unison, because, and I'm going to stop doing it now, but although I'm saying to use your intuition, it's not like you're never going to use your brain again, right? So, there's going to be instances where you need to use your intuition and the left side of your brain together. There's times where just the left side of the brain, or if it's like a medical decision, you're only going to listen to rationality. So I'm not saying like, okay, let's just throw out facts and logic, right? We're going to still use both, but that's going to help combine so that you start using both sides of the brain, so that you can start using your intuition and the logic. Okay, the last thing I'm going to talk about now is our spirit guides. So our spirit guides are really here to protect us and to guide us for our human life. And they want us to succeed. They want us to be happy, and they want to make our life easier. But it's very hard if you don't know how to communicate with them. So by developing your psychic abilities, developing your intuition, developing your Clair senses, developing the third eye chakra, these are all going to help you communicate with your spirit guides. And your spirit guides might be a deceased loved one. They might be someone you've never met. They might be someone who was here with your past lives, and they'll be here with you in your future lives. We all have one main spirit guide who's always with us, but then we also have ones that come in interchangeably. So let's say I'm going to go to a meeting and I'm really nervous. So my courageous spirit guide will come in to give me the courage I need to do for that meeting. You don't need to call them in. They just know what we need, and they'll work interchangeably with us. So, that one will come in and then it will leave, but our main guide is still always with us. Our spirit guides love to have 3 requests in play for them. So let's say I'm going somewhere later, and so I request to them that I want to have the parking spot right out front. I also want my favorite meal to be offered at the restaurant later, and tomorrow I want it to be nice and sunny so I can be outside all day. Once they've done that, you want to make sure that you thank them. And then as soon as one is done, you want to replace it with something else. So let's say tomorrow is sunny. Now I have 2 requests, and now I'm going to say, I hope that my friend is home later when I call her so that we can talk. And so now I always have 3 in play. You don't need to feel guilty about asking your spirit guides anything. They are here for that sole purpose. They are only here to help us. Imagine that they're ready to go into the baseball game. They're on the sideline and they just want to play, right? That's who they are. That's their main purpose here, is to help us. So you never have to feel guilty about asking them something too small, asking them too many things. And also the reason for that is once we recognize that they've helped us, they actually ascend higher in the spirit world. So it's a 2-way street. They're helping us with our physical life, but once we say thank you and we recognize that they've helped us, they're ascending higher in the spirit world. And so it's a 2-way street of helping each other. What else do I want to say about our spirit guides? So you can journal to your spirit guides. You can ask them questions that way. You can also try any of these exercises with the Clair senses to have communication with them. You can also, that was what I wanted to say. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. So with your spirit guides, instead of saying, please, spirit guide, blah, 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 and asking for your request, I always say to say the word thank you. Thank you, spirit guide, for, and then you put your request in that you want. And that's going to show them that you are so strongly connected with them and so believe in them that you're going to actually thank them before they do it for you, to show them that I truly believe in you. I know you're going to help me. So I'm going to thank you before you even do help me. And then once they help you, you want to thank them again. So instead of using the word please. Something else that people get really caught up on is the name of their spirit guides. And I always say it doesn't matter. I still don't even know my spirit guide's name. As long as you say spirit guides, whether it's your main one or the interchangeable one. You can call them all your spirit guides. They'll know which one's going to come in interchangeably. But I think our logical mind, being humans, we want to label something. And so we want to have that name for them. But really, it's not important, you know. And honestly, if they were back from like the 1700s or 1600s or something, like we probably wouldn't even recognize what the name is. And they would probably change it to a more modern name, which would be their real name anyway. So I always just say, don't get caught up on labels. Just call them your spirit guides. Reach out to them anytime you can and try to get their guidance. And they can send you signs like the sequential number sequences. And it's amazing once you can communicate with them. Now, obviously, I can't teach you everything on how to become a psychic today, but I did want to at least give you a little bit of information about our spirit guides as well. Okay, so I really hope this was helpful to everyone. And I just wanted to go through if you did want to work with me. So what I do as a psychic medium mentor is I'm giving you the tools that you need that I felt I had to kind of like find all the puzzle pieces myself and then put them together and it wasn't working. So I have basically done that for you because I learned from my own journey. And so I put all of the puzzle pieces together and now you have the whole puzzle instead of taking these classes and reading these books and trying to do it on your own. So yeah, so it's 90 days. I have a bi-weekly Q&A call. That's over Zoom and that's live. If you missed the Q&A call, you can submit your questions prior to it so that I can answer them on the call. Regardless whether you come to the call or not, you will get a recording of the call as well. You also have a like-minded community, which is so important because that's what we're lacking right now, right? So you're going to have the other people in the program with you. Doesn't matter when you join. Someone can be in module 6, someone can be in module 1. We're all here to help each other and encourage each other. So you have that supportive, like-minded community as well. You also have access to me Monday through Friday so that I can encourage you and guide you on the modules so that you're never stuck, because that's the whole point, is I don't want you to get stuck. But you also have access to the other students in the program as well, Monday through Friday. So it's an app on your phone. It's called Telegram. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but you'll have a personal one that goes directly to me to give me messages, which are either through text, audio, or video. And then you also have the same with the group. So if you want to share something with the whole group or talk to each other on there, you have the community every day as well. You also have lifetime access to the content so that like after 90 days, it's not going away. I also have customized exercises for you. So we're basically, we're having these 75 exercises, which are both video and written out to develop your psychic muscle. Again, only taking 10 to 30 minutes a day. That's like your baseline. That's your entry level, what everyone needs to know about developing your psychic gifts. But in there, you're going to start to realize, I'm a healer, or I'm an empath, or I'm a medium. And so you're going to communicate that with me. And then I'm going to give you exercises based on what you are. And that's how I customize the program. So that's not like a one size fit all. It's one size fit all to an extent. But once you start to see what you uniquely are, that's when I'm going to give you exercises on that unique psychic ability so that you can start to thrive with whatever your ability is, whether it's a healer or a medium or a telepath or whatever it is. Also, let's say you find out you're clairvoyant. I'm not going to have everyone in the program do like 20 clairvoyant exercises if someone's clairaudient and not clairvoyant. So if you're going through those clair exercises, I will start to give you exercises that you need more of based on which clair you are, or based on which chakra you need to balance. So whenever you're going through, there's always extra exercises I can give you on top of the ones that are in there, because some might just like not make sense to you, and that's how we're all unique. And so I do customize it based on what your unique ability is. And then I also do have some learning after the 90 days. So as I mentioned before, I have the practice circle, and that's a membership option, and you can join and quit whenever you want. But that is where I bring in strangers and you can do readings on them so that you have that practice if you want after it, which is so important to really practice, because you're going to build up that confidence. And then if you want to go a step further, I also offer a unique customized psychic ability program as well. And that's just whatever you find out you are. Now we're going past the entry level and we're just going to dive deep into whatever ability you have. But that would be after the 90 days, just to show you that I'm not going away. Even after the 90 days, I still would love to be there for you. A lot of my clients have definitely changed their lives going through this, and you can find their testimonials on my website at brandyvan.com. It's amazing to see how people's lives are different and doing so much more positively, and they're not confused anymore. They're able to control their ability. They've developed it. They've developed their intuition and strengthened it. I absolutely love it. So if you are ready to dive in and if you're willing and able to make a financial investment in yourself, I would love for you to book a call with me. That at brandyvan.com. And because, again, you have downloaded this masterclass and watched it today, I will be giving a $500 off discount if you book a call with me within the next 5 days. So that doesn't mean you need to sign up with me in the next 5 days. It just means if I would love to hear about your personal experience of what you're going through and to see if you're a great fit for the program. And if you do that in the next 5 days, it's a free half-hour call. You'll get $500 off. But yeah, the 90-day mentorship program is going to help you stop second guessing yourself, heal yourself through shadow work. You're going to be able to communicate with your spirit guides and access their guidance in your life. It's going to strengthen your decision making because you're going to strengthen your intuition and have that personal growth and confidence in your life. We're also going to go through dream interpretation so that you can resolve conflict and find solutions to real life problems. You're going to find your higher purpose. So you can live a more fulfilled, satisfying life. You're going to feel the connection you have to the divine universe and learn how we're all connected through energy. And then you'll also learn how to conduct readings for other people and how to create income. I'm going to go over the different types of jobs that there are that if you wanted to do a side hustle or a career in this. And you're going to learn to live with less stress and eliminate your fears of the unknown and overcome any obstacles that you have through emotional intelligence. So you're going to learn about spirituality. You're going to learn how to develop your gift. And I'm going to be with you there every step of the way. I absolutely love it. And again, if you wanted to go to my website and book a call with me, you'll get the $500 off. You can also go to my Facebook and Instagram at Brandy Van Medium. There's a lot of free resources and tools on there, as well as also on my website, I have the free blog posts that have a lot of information there as well for free. And then if you just want to email me, reach out. I'm here to be there for you because especially if you don't have someone in your life that you can talk to about your abilities, I would love to be that resource for you, even if you decide not to join my program. And even if you don't decide to join my program, just please work with a psychic medium mentor, even if it's not me. I just know that it's going to be the best thing for you because it's life changing and it just accelerates your process. And it also is it just gives you everything that you need versus trying to figure it out on your own. It's so much easier. So even if it's not me and it's someone else, yeah, please still do it. Get a mentor. It's the best thing that will ever happen to you, I promise. So thank you so much. If you have any questions on this masterclass, feel free to email me. And I hope you have a great day. And I would love to hear from you if you want to book a call to learn more about my mentorship program. All right. Thank you. Bye.